I think it's not the level I expected from Go Aurora coming into this tournament. I think going into PF3, I was expecting, to be honest, Group A to be BDS and G2 that made it through. So Go Aurora have exceeded my expectations. I think that they are looking stronger than ever before, and they are looking very, very dominant in doing it. And I just feel like they are exactly what I expected from day 1 to day 2, and maybe even a little bit better than they were on day 1 in PF3. I think they just look very dominant, and the scariest thing about this team, which we may or may not see in game 2, is that Cosmic is an absolute monster as well, and we've not even talked about them because of how destructive their top and jungle have been.
Yeah, and even Lilian, I mean, I feel like with the LeBlanc performance in lane especially, 3-0 kind of in the blink of an eye, getting those kills early on was really, really effective. And yeah, just because of how Karina and Senna have dominated the conversation, we haven't been able to give the proper flowers to the other 3 members of Go Aurora. So far, similar bans here, taking away those assassins from Karina. We'll see if the Belveth is the other ban as well this time around. Meanwhile, Poppy Lilia, pretty much as expected, pinching house pool just a little bit here, Solary.
As they should, to be honest, absolutely as they should, because Hao is a menace when she gets her hands on the good junglers, but even when she doesn't, to be fair, she is still a very good jungler, and this is the person I'm personally very happy to see in Pathfinders 3 having made such a huge step compared to Pathfinders 2 performance. But so far, it is the same story here, but look at that last ban coming in from Solary. The Eloy finally has been banned, and I'm happy.
There you go, taking that away. J-Real gives his applause. It's the Akshan hover. I'd be stunned if they locked that one in. LeBlanc, again, without the Alawi. J4 still on the table, but Karina, that's not really her flavor. She wants to play someone with a little more firepower. It will be Lilian back on the LeBlanc. No issues last time around. Why not B1 the dang thing, J-Real?
I feel like Solary is giving the face of like she's okay, but inside she's like that meme of the dog with the tea and the fire is just raging. Yeah. She's just like, yeah, everything's fine. It's fine. The LeBlanc's picked. Everything's okay. It's all good. What I want to see, though, I had a bit of a thought while we were kind of talking a little bit more about these two teams. I kind of want to see Solary just play around the bot lane. I just kind of want them to really prioritize Koyaska, just give her basically something comfort, play around that, set her up, and really just let her flourish. Because we said even in games where it's not going well for Solary, they're still able to pull off massive wins from Koyaska. So maybe just kind of put that on your mantelpiece and then just say, look, this is how we're going to win. We're going to go through bot lane and we're just going to get it done. They've already started to draft a little bit like that. I like the Maokai. I like the Alistair. They've given a dual engage proposition, which is going to be a nice setup for whatever they draft later on.
Yeah, this has safety for your AD carry written all over it. Karthus main unbanned, and so only slightly less toxic than the Shaco, ulting from death. Could you imagine if they released a champion like Karthus nowadays? Like, hey, by the way, this you have a global ultimate and you can cast it when you're dead. I think the Twitter.com would explode. But this champion's been around for 1,000 years. Karthus and Nautilus back on the table for Go Aurora, Solary.
I love the first picks from Solary so much because they are anticipating more engage coming in from Go Aurora and more aggression from them, and they already are preparing to protect their carries at all costs. And honestly, with the addition of Nautilus to Go Aurora, you can see that they have read it correctly so far. Now, I really wonder if this RE is going to happen on the mid lane for Fangs, and it also makes me question whether this is going to be an AD RE with a static Shiva and a Triforce as an answer to the same LeBlanc on the other side of the map. I tried this pick yesterday. It is actually very fun. I kind of understand why people go into it.
Don't go to the dark side.
I had to try it myself to understand why people do it. You know, what morals guide them into these picks, and I think I can see why.
Yeah, in case you missed it, that's what's been floating around the internet. It's it's Rylai's Rapid Fire Triforce Static Shiv Hullbreaker Ari. Just the biggest middle finger to the way this game is supposed to be played. But you know what? Some would argue that the way the game is supposed to be played is innovation, is these sort of blasphemous picks. So, you know, potato, tomato, or whatever. Misfortune is the pick for Nope, just kidding. It's a hover. It'll be Renekton locked in here on the top lane. So still giving Santa something with a lot of agency, but not quite the late game threat we're used to seeing for her on this champion, J-Real.
Yeah, it's not always the late game threat. We have seen her play Renekton a couple of times in this tournament already, so it's not something I'm too surprised about. I like the Xayah for Cosmic, though, giving maybe a bit more agency to the bot lane, saying, look, you know what, Sana is an absolute beast. She can take over a game, but let's show you how good Cosmic can be as well, putting them on the Xayah. Also, with the amount of engage that's coming through from the side of Solary, I really respect this pick. You're going to be able to peel back. Now Koyaska been given that Sivir as well, with the Ornn as the final lock. This is a lot of tank. It is going to funnel into Koyaska, and it's basically saying it's your time to shine.
Yeah, this is very safe, just kind of bread and butter League of Legends from Solary. They've got their backs against the wall, down 1-0 to go Aurora in the Pathfinders 3 semifinals in this best of 3. Meanwhile, go Aurora drafted a little bit of the same. Sana, like you said, not a pick that is foreign to her in the top lane, but maybe not quite the same late game split push threat. We're not going to see the same game as game 1, but Lilianne's still on the LeBlanc. B1'd it, and Cosmic given a lot more agency this time around. Like you were saying, J-Real, we didn't even get to give her flowers, and to see the different ways that Go Aurora can play. He said that this is kind of, you know, as far as your expectations for Go Aurora, you wanted to see a little bit more of this. They can show a little bit more multifaceted gameplay. Remember, they took Group A after a 1-1 against G2 Hell. They went on the other side of the bracket in the semifinal. We will see that in just a little bit. Solary, back to you. Your namesake has drafted themselves a very safe scaling composition, very easy to execute. You know where all the eggs are going to go as far as the AD carry basket. Do you like what you see?
Yes, I do like it quite a lot. I think they shouldn't be too innovative with their picks right now. They already understand how big of a threat Go Aurora is for them. They know where exactly this threat is going to be coming from, so they are opting into the comfort and into a lot of safety. And I love it, because as long as they just dance around Koyaska in the team fights, they are going to be fine. But the real question is going to be, because in the previous game, we also expected Solary to go in with heavy team fighting against Go Aurora, and they were never given a chance to survive until the first team fight even happened. Is it going to be the same? Because Go Aurora, for example, have Renekton this time, and Renekton can make sure that no team fighting is ever happening for Ornn.
And you've got a little bit of backline access as well, right? You've got, if the Renekton can, you know, dash, flash. Prowler's Club doesn't have another dash these days. That got changed. But the LeBlanc can access the backline. Karthus can access the backline because he can just die, press R, and guess what? Everybody gets it. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the base. You're going to take a face full of Requiem. J-Real, I'm going to pose the same question to you. Is this Solary's best bet?
It's a little bit tough, right? They have a lot of engage. They have a lot of setup for Koyaska. It's what I asked for. It's what I was kind of looking for. My only question is, do they have enough damage to kind of get through these team fights? Yeah. Obviously, the Sivir can deal... Oh, okay. Okay, I've been given a note. Ari should build the book. Maybe they're going to have enough damage.
That's pretty good. Yeah, no, we love to see Ari played in a little more Chad build. I'm right there with you. Build the ring, build the book. None of this, certainly not some of this split push shenanigans, although maybe if you need another... no, you can't. You don't have enough damage. That's the conclusion we've come to. No, build the book. Build your Leandries, build your whatever you want, the Ludens, what have you. Solary, I know you are a big fan of that as well in my time broadcasting with you in other leagues.
Yes, I love it so much. I didn't really like when Ari's going to the Everfrost and a little bit more utilitarian pick, because I think Ari fully shines when she is just dealing the raw damage, when she's dancing around on her ultimate and killing the enemies on the spot. This is what she does the best. The Everfrost build is a fun one. It has been dominating the scene for some time, unfortunately, but it really requires you to build other items as quickly as possible on top of that. And the book does the very similar thing, but it does it so much better. Build the book, buy the book, and don't build AD on Ari, for God's sake, please.
It's going to be tough. Lilianne has shown that with the LeBlanc in her hands, she can be a force to be reckoned with, not only in the team fights, but especially in that laning phase. Again, jumped down to a 3-0 lead kind of out of nowhere on the LeBlanc, and will have some late game power as well. Go Aurora not pulling any punches here. They are up 1-0 as far as the series is concerned. They're looking to book a date with whoever comes out of the other side of the bracket, which of course we will have for you here on the channel in terms of who will it be in terms of G2 or G2 Hell, excuse me, and NNO. Well, a lot of fun still to go here. J-Real, can I bother you for a prediction before we jump into the game?
It's a much better draft from Solary. I just still believe in Go. I just think Aurora are just a little bit too strong right now.
Solary, same question to you.
I'm going to say this time Solary have much more chances, so I'm going to say they are going to take this into a 1-1.
All right, well, we shall see. They've got their Pathfinders 3 tournament lives on the line. Draft themselves a nice composition that they are a little more familiar with. Jabriel, Solary, have at it.
I'm hearing you loud and clear with my Logitech headset, you know? Shout out to that one, Solary. I feel like it's allowed me to hear a lot of the abilities a lot clearer as well, you know? So we're going to hear those Orn Horns. We're going to hear that Nature's Advance there from the Maokai. And we're going to see what this game can offer us. And one thing I wanted to talk about is we talk about expectations. We talk about setting up the game. The big thing for me is I don't want Solary to play too early into the game. I want them to build into the later stages and not give Go an early lead. What are you shocked by the way?
Did you see how returning back to the base the moment everybody left the base?
No.
How forgot to buy items. It's not the case of, you know, finding it out in the jungle already, but still, it's... We see everything, okay? You cannot hide it from us, but it doesn't really matter because it's so early in the game and nobody is invading, so we have no early aggression from Aurora this time, so it's fine. We forgive you.
Now, obviously, last game, kind of a bit of a write-off from quite early on. Oh, Karina going deep there. Going to get a deep ward. We'll walk away. We'll back out of this one. We talked about it being a very Koyaska-centered draft. Are you expecting How to spend a lot of time bot lane?
I want her to spend a lot of time on the bot lane. I'm not sure if I should expect it, but I want to see it happening. Because on the top lane, the idea is for Sana to try to get kills because the support for Necton is all about, and for Yukiko to just absorb all the damage in and not die because this is what Owen is all about. On the mid lane, it should be a pretty stable position. Ari and Blanc are usually not exactly the lane. It is a lane to have a lot of damage and aggression, but not the lane to have the early kills necessarily. But on the bot lane, Koyaska needs the kills to get things accelerated. Koyaska needs a push to get to her items. She's starting with a call to make sure that the money is flowing as quickly as possible, and this is what the team needs to help her out with.
Oh, hook there. Gonna land. Kiana getting aggressive. It makes me like very interested, right? Because obviously the Sivir and the Xayah both gonna scale. Xayah notorious for being able to kite out a lot of fights, and it does propose a pretty tough question for Solary to get around Solly. Obviously, you are gonna want to try and kill Cosmic, but you don't want to be chasing for too long. But on the flip side, with the Sivir, you can get a lot of poke down. The Ari as well could just kind of chunk out the Xayah. I do think taking Cosmic off the board is going to be the key to a lot of their team fights.
Actually, yes. Can we talk about Cosmic for a second? Because we haven't talked about her much in the previous game, but it was for a reason. She wasn't really shining bright because there was Sana overshining, outshining everybody, but she was there. She was very consistent. She was dealing damage. She was reliable. To be honest, this is what Sivir is about. Sivir is not about the flashy plays like many other champions. She's about, like here, for example, speaking of the flashy plays,
yeah, pretty even trade there in the mid. But yeah, going back on Cosmic, obviously, it's quite hard to shine when you have like a full force, like army base Spectre like, just beaming down. There is Sana in the base.
But she was on the back lane. She was dealing the damage. She was doing exactly what was needed from her. Now with this Xayah pick, I like the Xayah pick for her personally because a lot more possibilities to outshine some other team members. Xayah can have very flashy plays, but at the same time, I'm not fully convinced on Xayah pick in this specific draft, so we are going to have to see how exactly Cosmic is going to feel here, because everybody else apart from this Xayah wants to be going into the enemies. Even Karina, to be honest, even though it's Karthus, it's Karina, you know, she wants to die as soon as possible to press that precious R button. But Xayah is not necessarily about that. She's not running cleanse, so this is not a fully defensive Xayah. But the idea of the champion is not about going in onto the enemies as quickly as possible.
Wait, we've missed a huge sentiment of this game, Solly. Hold on, we have the fight. I'll get to it in a sec. Right now, bot lane is going to scrap it out. It's a 3 versus 2, so Go shouldn't be pushing too far up for this one. Although saying that, Cosmic is very happy just to keep firing off these shots. AOC going pretty low, going to flash forward, will get rooted down, and now in trouble. That's going to be first blood to Cosmic. We talked about her. We said she's dangerous, and she makes it happen. But Solly, let me bring your attention to this. There is 12 farm for How, right? That is one side of the jungle. There is 24 for Karina, now 28, but she has her whole bot side up. It looks like the top side got completely invaded, as we are seeing another dive. Before I let you talk about this, Koyaska is going to be stepping forward or stepping away as Kauna is going to finally go down, but it doesn't go to a champion, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, exactly. Counter dies to a minion. That is the most honorable death you can ever have in League of Legends, to be honest. Just to die to a lane minion. So yeah, Solary don't get anything out of this exchange. And yes, going back to your previous point, while we are looking at the mid lane just punching each other over and over, Karina did exactly that. This is what you expect, what you should be expecting from Kalthus. He is going to invade your jungle because of his notoriously fast clear, and he is going to take away all the farm from you, which slows down how quite a lot, already one level below compared to Karina, and this is going to be the story here. Both of the ultimate for these junglers are super important and game-making in the team fights, especially for Hao, and our team fights for Karina. So it's very important race that we need to keep our eyes on. Who's gonna get to level 6 first?
It's just so down to fight. Anytime we're in bot lane, it just looks like they're scrapping it out, and I kind of love to see it. But obviously, it has led to them getting advantages. One kill already over to Cosmic, getting them a bit of a lead. Whereas in this top side, we are seeing a bit of fighting, but come on, this is the wet noodle fight of the century. This is going to take a few more years before anything is decided, and neither are going to go down.
Yes, it is just a fight that is never going to stop because because this is On and this is Renekton, exactly. They're going to be punching each other for a very long time. Mid laners are punching each other constantly though, but this is looking a little bit more explosive.
And also Fangs doesn't really have much mana. This actually could be quite dangerous for them. Lilian stepping forward, getting a huge chunk back onto her. Is it going to be enough though? Chain connects, not the damage that they needed to finish this off. And now Hao going to force the flash away from Lilian.
That's very good because right now Fangs is feeling a little bit safer on the lane, but Lilian!
Look at Karina. Look at Karina. She's still in the jungle and she has the ultimate.
Oh no.
Good night. Bye, Fangs. Bye. Goodbye.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Fangs dies regardless. So much attempt from Solary to make sure that Fangs stays alive. But it just comes down to the race we've been talking about. Who gets level 6 out of the junglers? And it's Karina.
It is Karina 2 levels up on the Maokai. Once again, farming exquisitely, almost double CS of Hao, and looking for more ganks. The managed regen is in. Yukiko going to be forced into this tower, but AOC is up in the top side, which is kind of against the game plan that we said. We wanted to see a lot of potential in the bot side, but it almost feels like Solary are kind of making their presence known everywhere.
Or at least are trying to. They are not too far behind, but you can already see that the goal difference is starting to pile up, and Aurora are feeling very firmly in the lead everywhere across the board. And as I was saying, there is 4 goal difference on the top lane, and Yukiko is taking this one. So my point is not correct anymore, but everywhere else it still stands, especially on the bot lane. And of course, in the jungle, we've mentioned half the difference between the junglers, and Karina hasn't even recalled for the second time yet. Hao has more items in the pockets, more gold, I mean, in the items in the pockets. For Karina, the moment she recalls, it's going to be a big one. Oh, she just did. Look at that lost chopper.
Lilian is going to be caught out here. Is there enough damage? Not going to be so from Fangs, and they will just have to leave that one. I was kind of thinking when you say that, like, we always talk about in the pockets. Where do champions keep their items?
If you look at Kalthus, for sure he has to have pockets in the gorgeous robe of his, but everyone else... that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Maybe Runeterra has solved the issue of everyone has pockets.
That would be lovely, but I'm not sure if everyone has pockets. Maybe everybody has a bag of holding or something.
Oh, okay. It's an interesting theory, but right now we're going to be getting some real live action in this bot side. AOC going to be caught out again, doing their best to keep Koyaska out of this fight and keep them safe, but it's going to lead to another kill. However, this time though, the Logitech G Dragon going to go over to Solary.
All right, and that's a good one. That's a Hextech Drake as the first Drake off the game. A very good pickup for them. And we love seeing that they are having some proactiveness. Even though things are not looking good on their bot lane, they're deciding not to rotate there and not to try Koyaska over, because Koyaska is trying to do things, but this is an early game Seaver, not exactly the damage just yet to kill somebody, despite the sacrifice of these support.
Oh no, flash from Fangs, but the damage from Lilian is righteous, and Karina be able to take up that kill. It's another one, and it feels like Go are just embodying a very similar energy to what they had in game 1. They're able to get this lead. They're finding kills. Karina is picking up the pace, and Cosmic this time is the one leading the charge rather than Sana.
Cosmic is leading the charge, and Cosmic is feeling so good on this champion. I talked about how I'm not fully sure about the pick of Xayah into this composition, but this is Cosmic and this is Xayah into Sivir, and I can see where the idea is coming from. You can see the range with empowered Qs, with the feathers flying further. The range is helping so much to stay alive on the lane and to deal the damage to the enemies when they're trying to disengage from you.
And Karina just stating to how this is not your jungle. This is my jungle. This top corner, she has 3 jungles, right? You only have 1 instead of the 2-2 split that we normally see. And how it's very hard for them to get back into the game. They've now got to level 6, but it almost feels like Karina's about to be level 8. They're keeping this 2-level lead. And on most junglers, you'd be like, okay, this could be a bit problematic. But on the Carthus especially, someone that is so level dependent, it is starting to become a bit worrying. Now, can they find a bit of solution in the top side? Sana is going to be taken low, but a great flash away from AOC will get them to safety.
And not dying is very important for Solary right now. Would be perfect to get some kills on top of that as well, but not dying on this lane when there is so much attention from Solary, so should be, is already a very good example of how good of a player they are, despite the situation that's happening for them. Speaking of situations, the mid lane is constantly under pressure. I'm feeling it for Fangs. Fangs is playing great, all things considered, especially because there is constantly somebody trying to kill her.
Wait, that doesn't calm you down? I feel like...
Sorry?
Like when someone's trying to kill you in League, you know you're doing something right? Like because they got to be trying to pick you up. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a different thought process to it. But one thought process is that maybe Yukiko could scale up and become a bit of a problem in themselves, right? We always talk about Ornn being a bit of damage as well, and although yes, not going to be necessarily the bursty piece that you wanted in your team to kind of pick up some of those kills, if the Ornn does get a little bit ahead, they could start to get those ornaments early and then bolster up the carries of Fangs and Koyaska.
Yes, exactly, because one is not about getting ahead because you want to have more damage or you want to have more gold for your own items. One is about getting those levels in, because with each level, you are able to upgrade somebody else's mythic item. So one just needs to get those levels, and it is important for the rest of the team to make sure that he gets those levels, because they are getting stronger with him as the game progresses and he gets more levels in. So yes, I'm seeing the world in which Yukiko is going to be one of the big reasons for Solary to take this game over if they do it, because right now this is not something that is on the map yet. There is a Herald on the bottom, there is a 4-1 situation, a gold lead of 3k for Aurora, so Solary still needs to have a lot of faith in themselves and everybody in the team to make it happen.
Oh, and they're bringing not just 3, they're bringing 4. Fangs is on their way down as well, and Karina going to be caught off the rip, getting knocked up, getting charmed. So much CC, they're not able to do too much while they're alive. Yes, they can do a little bit more damage when they're dead, but it is going to be a very clean pick for Solary.
Yes, and not even a chance for Karina to pop the ultimate, even though they have the ultimate, but don't need to use it because nobody is going to die. Look at you, Kiko!
Here it comes, knock up, another bit of a chunk of damage. Sana is going to use the Dominus, trying to get that extra health, but goodbye. Yukiko with the hammer, just absolutely slamming it down the Renekton. But we're not done with the fighting just yet. In the bot lane, it's all kicking off once again. AOC able to jump forward with the Unbreakable Will, but look at the feathers. You have to run away. You cannot stand in the vicinity.
All right. I think we need to go back to Yukiko Serial, because Yukiko in the previous game didn't have any chance to shine whatsoever. The Jack Speak, maybe not the most comfortable one, but even on top of that, not really having any chance to do anything on the lane. But right now having solo bolo kill versus a Renekton, and they will continue doing so unless Sana has a plan.
And maybe they do. Maybe they do. And it might be bring Karina to the lane and just get them to do all the damage. Because right now, Yukiko is getting burned down. One more tick will do it. Fangs has rotated up with Hao, but it's a little bit too late. They don't have the chance to get back into this. And okay, Yukiko, pretty strong, pretty dangerous. But look at Karina go.
Oh, wait, bot lane?
Bot lane is in a bit of a scrap. AOC again gonna have to flash away from the Blade Caller there. Cosmic just so dangerous right now. 1 item completed, and I feel like you just need to be super careful.
Going back to the top lane for a second, I wanted to look at the itemization of Yukiko. I see a lot of armor in there, makes sense against Sana, but there is no magic resist whatsoever. This is what allows Karina to be the only player on the team who is going to be killing Yukiko. So Solary need to put an extra effort into killing Karina every single time, especially pre-big team fights, because otherwise nobody is able to kick Yukiko, and the longer the game goes, the more items are available for Ornn, the tankier he's going to become.
Now, big team fight here. This could be the moment for Solary. AOC pushing back Corinna and Cosmic. This could open up for Koyaska to get into this fight as Fangs dashes in. Cosmic gonna have to use the jump, but they're able to stay alive. But here comes Koyaska, the hero of this team, the one we've talked about all day long for Solary. Takes a couple more kills, and that is going to win them the team fight.
Triple kill for Koyaska. This is another one in the book of the highlights for Koyaska's performance, for her team doing the absolute gods or rather goddesses work in that team fight. Fangs tried to do quite a lot as well, jumping around, being a very effective area, but unfortunately with the last dash from the ultimate jumping right into the feathers of the furthest storm from Cosmic and getting caught in them and killed immediately. And by the way, this is the Everfrost Ari. I should be happy that it's not an AD Ari, but I'm so sad that this is an Everfrost Ari.
Logitech G-Dragon is going to be picked up by Solary. That's their second of the game, as we get to go back to see what happened in this team fight.
What happens is a great initiation from Alcy, again dying at the very beginning of it, but thus opening up the way for the teammates because the ultimate from Marka is following up right immediately. And after that, this is Koyaska. Nobody's stopping Koyaska, nobody's doing anything to her because everybody else is busy with first Alcy, then Hal, then Fangs. But the thing is, Koyaska should always be the priority for the focus in the team fights for Aurora, because otherwise you saw what exactly she does.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about items there. You obviously mentioned the Everfrost. I do agree. I feel like the Ludens may be a little bit better, especially when you're a dual damage threat. You don't necessarily have other inputs that are going to be majorly effective, and Fangs is going to be needing to pick up a lot of damage onto Cosmic, Lilian, and Corinna, so maybe it could have been a better build. But we'll see if she still goes for the book. It's still potential for them to buy. They do have the Dark Seal. I want to ask you a little bit about the Sivir as well. When are we expecting Koyaska to just end the game? Because obviously right now doing a lot of damage when they have space, but we've seen Sivers just crush it.
They're gonna get to the second item quite soon, and I think this is going to be the trigger for Solary to start fighting as much as possible with Aurora still dancing around Koyaska, but this is going to be the hyper spike for her. However, it needs to happen before Cosmic gets to the second item, because something like Navorius the second for Zaya is going to be more than enough of a power spike for her. She will not need absolutely anything on top of that. That is going to be already a lot of damage for Solary to deal with.
Ooh, Lilian dishing out a bit herself, able to try and avoid Fangs, but Fangs is the one with the better trade here, and it looks like they might be able to pick this one up. One more Spirit Rush could do it as they get close, and Person almost finding the kill, but not going to be able to catch up with the very slippery LeBlanc.
To be fair, Lilian still had the flash available, so they probably would have escaped another dash from Fang should it be the flash that they didn't have, or another Spirit Rush that they didn't have either. But it's a very good attempt, and you can see how strong Fangs is at this moment in the game and how good she is as well. LeBlanc only has the static shift. The moment the Trinity Force is completed, that's going to be a slightly different story, but still it's a slightly different story for LeBlanc herself, not for her matchup with Fangs. LeBlanc, that is not AP, again, is not an assassin, is not a full-on mage that we're used to seeing. She is a split pusher. That's why she is on the side, but Fangs is such a good answer to her.
Now, I didn't see too much in the earlier stages of that fight. I don't really know what happened to Corinna in that last team fight, really, but there is still that looming thought in my mind. Okay, yes, Koyaska is getting quite strong, but Corinna is still on that scaling champion, level 12, still 2 levels ahead of Hal, and also catching up with those solo laners as well. And it's one that they do have to watch out for. And yes, these team fights are going to be pretty nice if you can kind of see the card this up. But if Corinna has good positioning in them, essentially the damage is going to be raining in hot and heavy, and I don't really know how Solary deal with that.
I think I might have an answer for you, but it will require a lot of good positioning from Solary, because everybody still needs to be dancing around Koyaska, making sure nobody can get to her. But then Koyaska is playing Sivir. What does Sivir have? She has the spell shield. It comes down to her being smart enough to keep that spell shield for as long as possible until Corinna dies, and then going into the ultimate. And Koyaska is smart, we know that, so I'm having high expectations here.
Oh, Fangs is going really low. Rush gonna have to use to get away, but it's not enough. And that's going to be the kill for Lily. And I will say those chains were so long. Tower going to be looking rough in the mid lane as Herald is going to charge that tier 1. Still holding on though. And I will say a much better game from Solary, right? They've managed to keep the gold to only 4k difference. They're keeping the towers much more intact. They're starting to win around the map with Koyaska having a bit of a lead and Yukiko having a bit of a lead. So it's not doom and gloom for them at this moment. And they are having a champion which will scale nicely into the late game in both the Ari and the Sivir. So I think all in all, it's a much better read of this game. But how do they secure it, right? We've got the Cloud, so I know you're not the biggest fan of coming up. Obviously, it doesn't feel like that's going to necessarily bag them the win. Baron 2, but is it a bit early to even think about that?
Oh, it's very early. For Solary, them being in a deficit, too early to think. For a Go Aurora, they're not in high enough soul price of gold and items and everything else to start thinking about the Baron just yet. So no, I would say the Baron has the chance to stay alive for a little while longer until there is a big team fight potentially coming up, and then it's going to be decided.
Oh, Kayana gonna get caught out here, and Koyaska able to start stepping forward. Good spell shield will stop the Blade Caller there and take away quite a bit of damage that could have come through from Cosmic, as Karina lying in wait. Now, you talked about the spell shield on the Sivir. It has been utilized already.
It's going to come back at some point, but not too quickly. And right now, it is all about how well are Solary positioned. Quite well, to be fair. Look at the amount of wards around them. Look at what they're doing with the vision. They're clearing the enemy spawn, but the Drake has already been started.
It has, but they have moved away from it. Karina deciding to go for the blue buff first instead. Maybe the potential safer pickup as AOC just throwing it away.
Yeah.
Starting to get up close and personal with Karina. Here comes the Nature's Grasp too, and they are going to flash away. So Karina not caught out by that, but the chase is on. Solary are looking for that Karthus. They're trying to hunt for this jungler, but it actually looks like it's going to be Hal that gets caught out. Goodbye to the Maokai, but Koyaska in the top of this fight being chased down by Karina, but dealing big damage here as Karina gets charmed, will be taken out as Cosmic on the flip side of the fight. Featherstone will buy them a bit more time. Fangs now the one in trouble. The Requiem comes down. Lilian picks up the kill and Yukiko to follow, but here's Koyaska on the back of this fight. Can she make it happen? Does she have the damage to take on the 2 carries of Go Aurora? Questions to be answered soon. But I think it will just cool down. Sana going to be able to take the top tower in this play, although hold that phone a second. Koyaska stepping forward, getting damage down. Will take Cosmic, but not Lilian.
Not Lilian, but that's already more than enough of a display of what Koyaska is capable of doing, being alone against the 2 carries of the enemy team. This fight started extremely unfortunate for Solary, I have to say. They were in a very good position, then they decided to follow up on Karina taking their blue buff, and then they split up. Poor Hao was completely alone there. Everybody else was trying to go to the river from the bot lane, and they were so far away, and it took them so long time to get to the river that by the time Hao was already dead, and after that it was about Go Aurora trying to pick them one after another, and in the end they still couldn't beat Koyaska before she secured some kills in her pocket. So that is an unfortunate fight for Solary. So all things considered, I'm surprised they did not as bad as it could have been, because it could have been an ace. It could have been a completely lost top lane. Remember, Sana was not in that fight whatsoever. She was just strictly on the split pushing duties.
So what I'm hearing is that you don't want Solary to do the Scooby-Doo fight tactic of splitting up and searching for clues.
No, absolutely not. No. They need to stick together because they are all about protecting Koyaska. If they split up like that, they cannot protect Koyaska, they cannot protect anybody else, and they just die one after another, which is the most stupid thing you can do in a team fight.
All right, Logitech G Dragon going to be secured by Go Aurora. They are able to pick up their first of this match. So now it does even it out, and it obviously lessens the chance of the soul being picked up. It will be 10 minutes wait before we see that one arise if Solary can secure both for themselves. But moving on from that, obviously Baron has been started to get warded up by the side of Solary. They've got a lot of vision around it. We've talked about whether it's possible to do it. Obviously a team fight, maybe a little bit more control around the map is required. And I am kind of starting to think, how are they going to secure that, right? Because Sana is the one that is still able to do the split pushing. Even though they aren't winning the lane, they are pulling a lot of pressure into that side lane.
This is what Solary are trying to do. They're trying to drag Sana's attention and Lilian's attention from the split pushing. They're trying to lure them into the Baron, removing the vision, staying at the Baron for a little bit while longer, not being visible on the map. But the thing is, Go Aurora are not really biting onto this trap. They're not falling into it.
Solary, they might have caught something though. Fangs is going to be able to get a lot of damage onto Lilian. TP going to be utilized by Sana, but look at where the team is. Cosmic ready in wait, ready to go for this play, and how going to be removed. Is this enough for them to go for Baron?
It is. It should be at least. It has to, but maybe not with Koyaska still pushing the mid lane.
Solary and co pushing it through this mid lane. They are going to get that tier 1, but it is at what cost? They've given a bit of momentum over to the Baron, but it's going to take them a little while. As you said, Go Aurora are not super far ahead in the game, as now a massive death charge picks up 3. That's going to be able to get Koyaska in a rough situation, but they manage to survive. They pick up the kill themselves. Baron going to finally go down, but at what cost? Solary moving in to take away these buffs from multiple members. Sana in trouble. Cosmic's already gone down, and Kayana also going to be removed. Karina taken out of the game, only to survive. Sana and Lilian with the buffs intact.
This is incredible from Solary. Yukiko.
Oh, the healing from Sana. The tower. Yukiko is so tanky.
No way. This is on the assassin, the magic damage dealer, the 80 damage dealer, the tank, the bruiser, everything at once. Yukiko, that was an incredible performance because it's just one Baron buff. And Liliana just got a kill.
Ooh. AOC. Again, I will say they're noble in death, right? Like, they're always doing it to set the team up. They managed to secure the tier 2 and a tier 1 in the top side, which means that the Baron play is actually 2k gold to Solary, which is things I wasn't going to be expecting.
And it's again back to my point that Solary make the impossible somehow happen, because the fight pre-Baron was terrible for them. They got the teleports in, but they suddenly found themselves in the teleport and people's disadvantage. Yukiko was on the bot lane, no TP available. They were in the numbers deficit and they were dying. Howard died, jungler dying pre-major objective usually means that you are automatically losing this objective. This is what happened. Solary could not secure the Baron, but then they find a fight. And you could see the positioning of Koyaska and Fangs. It was incredible. Koyaska standing back, as far to the back as possible, with her beautiful front lane protecting her. And because of that, she deals the damage from the safety of her position. And this damage is a really tough one to answer to.
And I want to, I know you don't work in an ice cream shop, but I want to get the Solly scoop on how this team fight could have gone. Should Go Aurora have maybe turned off the Baron a little bit earlier and said, okay, we're not going to go for the objective just yet, we're going to take the full team fight?
I understand why they decided to go for the objective. Again, the enemy jungle is dead. You are feeling very strong at the moment. But they really should be focusing more on Koyaska. I feel like they're not paying her enough respect that she absolutely deserves. They are not trying actively to take her down pre-big fights. And if she is alive, she is dealing damage and she is getting the kills in. So for Go Aurora, I want to see a little bit more of a shift. Yes, we are strong, say Go Aurora. They should say so. But also they should say, but on top of that, we need to make sure that our strength is amplified by the fact that nobody on the enemy team can kill us anymore because Koyaska is dead.
Lilian going to keep pushing on that side wave. As we mentioned, the only one with the Baron buff left up. That is going to diminish, so in 26 seconds. Goodbye to that one, as we are going to get a new Drake spawning a Logitech G Dragon up in 2 minutes 15. So it does feel like we're going to have a little bit of a lull phase where there's not really much of an objective to fight over. It is just going to be kind of pushing waves, which I actually think benefits Solary a little bit more because they've been able to really push Koyaska into a very strong position. She's 3 items, and if they can get to 4 before the next team fight, I feel like Go are in a rough position.
If it's going to be some sort of like bloodthirsty for Koyaska as the fourth item, yes, it's going to be massive for Solary because they will not need to protect her that much anymore. They know she has her additional tools of safety. They can focus more on actually actively killing the enemies. That is going to be a big team fight when this fourth item finally happens for Koyaska, especially because Koyaska is the only one in the team who is far ahead compared to the adversary on the lane.
Oh, I said lol, but here comes the fight. How going to go aggressively in. Ornhorn utilized the 2 to stop any re-engage. Karina getting a bit of damage down, but not able to get actively into this fight. And Kayana going to be chased off to the wings. Cosmic finally joining into this one, but the tanks are just holding them back further and further as Koyaska gets into range, and it becomes deadly. Goodbye to oh no, Karina's still alive actually. Was able to stay alive for a little bit longer, but look at Lilian on that split push. We talked about this LeBlanc and the threat that they can have. Taken it in here, but now looking for an Nexus tower. This is something I wasn't even accounting for.
Lilian isn't the sun on duties today. She is split pushing like a mad woman she is, and that is a very effective split push.
manages to take a Nexus Tower and an inhib, and it puts that seed of doubt into Solari's mind. Yes, they are winning the team fights. Yes, they are looking very strong. Yes, they are getting objectives, but they cannot give up 3 towers.
But they got the Logitech G Dragon. It's pretty good. It's a soul point for them finally. Compared to the previous game, that's a very strong point for them to be at. But again, Go Aurora are controlling how exactly the game is going to flow. Because after winning a team fight, Solary couldn't really transition into committing... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
That's
Man, Kathas is annoying. Just slightly. Look at the death timer. More than 40 seconds for Fangs to resurrect after this thing that she couldn't even respond to. I will not be surprised if there is going to be a Banshee's Veil or some sort of that, or maybe Zonia's for Fangs happening as soon as possible, because man, this hurts quite a lot. But what also hurts is that, again, Solary couldn't really find any additional advance on the map after a very, very successful team fight. They get nothing.
Corinna is scaling. Level 17, by the way. 4 levels up on How. Almost getting towards their 4th item. They are becoming very powerful. It sounds like you don't love Karthus Gaming as maybe much as I do. I guess because you don't play the champion.
Yeah, because I play against this champion.
It's a lot of fun.
I actually tried to play him some time ago. I don't get the feeling of him, you know? It just, it's not my type of champion. But I sometimes play against him, and every single time after that I need to take a long break from gaming at all because I cry.
You got to detoxify, you know? Like,
exactly. Remove the toxicity from my body and mind.
As in, what can I say? Like, I play Fiddlesticks, right? So Karthus fits the meta. You know what I mean? Like, farming AP jungler that scales, like, oh, that's me all over. But right now, we're starting to see the benefit of this Karthus, right? We're starting to see how dangerous Corinna can be. You may be able to survive the fight, but can you survive the post-fight? You know, that's the real question that they've got to answer. And so far, Koyaska has been saying yes.
Yes, especially now with the 4th item, and it was indeed a bloodthirst, and it's going to be a very definitive yes from Koyaska in every single fight going on. Because now, if anybody gets close to her with the attack speed that this Savior already has, she should be able to survive and outsmart and outdamage the enemy. These items are speaking to me, J-Real, and I'm loving to see that from Koyaska.
Split push is being utilized by Sana. They've drawn away Fangs, which is an interesting choice to send into the side lane because they do have the TP, but I feel like they are quite an important component in the team fight for Solary. So we'll see how this one does change things. We'll see Lilian trying to push those towers in the top side, but Solary are aptly sending multiple members. They've got 4 people on this side, but we talked about this before. Lilian does have a lot of escape potential there. Flash going to be utilized as already 2 distorts. That's going to be a 3rd. And now Go Aurora are just straight onto this Baron. I can't believe they're being so bold, but look at the damage. They're going to be able to take it before they even get close. That's going to be secured. And now they can just start walking away. And look at the TP. They're going to the base. Sana and Lilian are making their way in. Fangs is the only one defending. There's only 1 tower. Are they going to take it like this? Not like this, Solly. Surely no. They kill off Fangs. They're going for the tower. They get 1. Can they get the Nexus? The recalls are stopped. Say they finally send Koyaska back, but it's too late.
No way, J-Real, no way they did it! When I saw Sana on the bot lane, the moment this Baron got started, and Baron was a little bit out of the blue, but I had a very wrong feeling somewhere in the back of my head. But the moment Lilian's TP comes in,